So we had one sequel on Frosty and one on Rudolph. So why not follow up with one on Frosty again? Okay. Well, this is The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, released in 2005. Again, this has been bundled with the original Frosty special along with Frosty Returns. No real big backstory here. Classic Media with Studio B Productions created this one, and unlike the other Frosty standalone featurette, this is more than 20-some minutes. So how does this hold up compared to those? Oh, surprisingly well. The story is narrated by Mayor Burt Reynolds about the town of Evergreen being pretty strict, with an attitude that makes the army look like disobedient groups. Just need obey signs everywhere and we're good to go. We mainly follow Tommy Tinkerton, voiced by Lil DeVille, Kathleen Susie, being followed by Frosty's Hat, trying to get him to play. He couldn't due to him not wanting to disappoint his upbeat OCD father, voiced by SpongeBob, Tom Kenny, whom is also the mayor. Surprise? The Hat finds its way to his friend, Walter, voiced by the boss, Ken Michael, and the timid boy soon puts it on a stack of snow, forming into Frosty, voiced by it's fucking Patrick Star. Bill Fagerbags barely changes it.
The key is to find some good wet snow. Heap it on, don't be stingy, and pack it tight.
Anyway, Frosty starts playing with many children, convincing them that a world needs more fun, which makes them more defiant against the rules. Mayor Tinkerton and Principal Pankley, voiced by Larry Miller, try to maintain order while Pankley shows that becoming the new mayor is in his sights, using the defiance as a way to take out Tinkerton. Then it's all of the matter of taking out Frosty himself. So, yeah, if you can't tell, the many voice actors are the usuals that we familiar ourselves with since the 90s. Some are obvious like Tommy and Frosty, some will take a short moment, or like with Tom Kenny, you can't tell, but when you know it's him, it's hard to not hear him and you might connect him with other performances. Hell, Tara Strong is in here too. Fuck, might as well round up all of them in this one film. The story itself is actually pretty good, a better sequel than Frosty Returns for sure. The real problems I have are partly on the forced exclusion towards Tommy by the time Frosty visits a good chunk of kids, especially with Walter. Besides Tommy's brother, Walter is just a prick to Tommy, his supposed best friend, just for not meeting up with Frosty. I get kids are dicks, but wow! Tommy is even suspected as a narc to get to Frosty and was accused to help getting rid of him. All because Tommy didn't go out to have fun with him first. Jesus. The second and major problem I have with this is the retconning of the original story. It made it that one of the original kids was the one who made Frosty on a random snow day. A professional magician, and yes, that's what I always call him, is his father, whom doesn't witness this and denounces it. Honestly, it would be better if the story was intact. Frosty tries to come back, but then the second half of the backstory happened. Frosty changed as well. He became somewhat of a magical entity of spreading fun and stuff instead of just being his own person that could represent such ideals. He is back to being how he was personality-wise in the original special, but it seems that he now has powers besides of just the hat being magical. Maybe his essence took over the magic of the hat or something, I don't know. The animation is fine for a straight-to-DVD film, nice and expressive for this kind of comedy. Oddly enough, when they flash back to the retcon origin with Professor Magician, the modern take on the classic style is so much better than the regular look of this film. No real bias here either, it just looks a bit more flowing and more human. Surprisingly enough, there wasn't really any songs in this, just Mayor Reynolds singing Frosty the Snowman. It's a good version. But then again, with 5 different renditions throughout all these specials, there's not much room for change. All in all, I was actually quite surprised of how good this was. I say it's the second best Frosty standalone featurette, third when Christmas in July is added. I highly recommend it. And since this is the last featurette with Frosty, there is one thing I want to address. This is what I picked up after listening to another person's look at 2 Frosty specials. The fact that Frosty is portrayed in 2 ways, either being a representation of childhood and fun, especially around winter, and him being his own character with wants and needs similar to us. Both sets of sequels tackle both of these. The Rankin specials have the latter, while Frosty Returns and The Legend of Frosty have the former, and both sets have a good and mediocre results. Frosty Returns and Winter Wonderland were the weaker examples, while Legend of Frosty and Christmas in July were the better ones. I honestly don't mind either take on Frosty as long as it has quality to it. And again, we have two good ones representing both. And with that, let's move away from Frosty with the next topic, a remake. Yay!
Hey, I'm not done yet. This year, Red Ribbon Reviews decided to promote a foundation called Gaia, or Global AIDS Interfaith Alliance. Being a man with minor faith in such foundations at first sight, taking a good look at it, it seems to be alright with the latest reports and seems to be on the up and up, getting closer to their goals. Their main place of work is within Africa, Malawi to be specific, helping those most affected by HIV and AIDS and other diseases where they need the help the most. I won't say a lot since I do believe that you should go to their site www.thegaia.org and check for yourself. If you like what you see, feel free to donate. Hey, with a goal of curing AIDS by 2030 and Trojan condoms are behind it, I can get behind it as well. The site, again, is www.thegaia.org. Happy holidays, and hopefully, one gift the whole world will get one day is the end of AIDS.